2.
What's up, friendly friends? Coming to you live from the great state of Texas, Richardson, Dallas, Texas, to be exact. Welcome to Curious Jess, the JESS MARSHALL Podcast Solo Edition. Hope y'all are doing well. Let's lock Trump up and throw away the key, y'all. Enough with this guy. Let's be done with it. Let's get him prosecuted to the fullest extent. 34 felonies. Let's get this judge's decision. He'll then be a felon. He will then not be able to run again. Let's get it done. I don't know about you. I'm sick of this guy. This could not have happened at a better time. It's been due for a long time, and I hope y'all are as excited as I am. Welcome to the show.
The intro's attached to the timer, so I gotta separate that out.
No worries.
I can sing something.
I can sing something too. Actually, you could put on my new favorite artist if you want. I found her over the weekend, Dora Jar, Wizard. Have you ever heard that song, Sohill?
No.
Will we get in trouble for copyright
Yep.
even if you speed it up?
Yep.
That's not cool. She needs all the pubs she can get. Y'all check out my girl Dora. She's the shit. Wizard is a badass song. I think y'all will enjoy it. We don't need a song, man. What kind of music? Not country and western. I don't know how to explain it. I really don't. You should put it on after when you're blaring awesome tunes in here, when you're editing stuff. She's cool. She's I don't know where she's from. I don't know how old she is. None of that really matters, but I dig her music. I think she's got about 15 songs out on YouTube, and she's great. I was blaring that over the loudspeakers at the lake on Saturday. Speaking of which, bro, we got to get out on the lake. Get out there. Make it happen. Get extremely sunburned. Talk to this camera. You got a deal. I don't have a timer, but that's cool. I don't think we need one. And we're off to the races. I hope y'all are as excited about politics today as I am. Man, you guys know how passionate I am about it. Oh, so it's just some really good people in office, you know, sacrificing their lives and their sacred honor to help us, the people, to serve us, to represent us. And I just, man, it's just been really a breath of fresh air to finally see some justice, hopefully some justice in this world. Long time coming. It's going to set just an amazing precedent. And I don't know, man. I hope you're as psyched as I am, because I think that what happened on Tuesday is just the tip of the iceberg. And couldn't happen to a nicer guy, to a nicer family, and I'm stoked, y'all. I hope y'all are too. I know that I know it's been a long road, having to deal with all this craziness, but in all seriousness, y'all, if you're buying into what's going down right now with the arrest on Tuesday, with Bad Man Orange, Orange Man Bad, yeah. See, I'm real orange today.
What should I throw up there? Because it's gonna be in this.
I think that what I should do is send you one of my Tahoe homemade snowboarding videos, and you just play it on a loop. I could text one to you, especially the one with the wreck at the end. You want me to do that? Let me send that one to you. See what I can find here. I feel like I'm still sunburned from Tahoe.
The people can see a little BTS of what goes down.
Yeah, man. Behind the scenes, that's where it's at. Y'all don't be jealous of my athleticism with this video. Keep in mind, in the spirit of authenticity, that this is the video where I wreck. So y'all enjoy once we get that up there on a continuous loop.
Back to Trump, it seems like you're very happy.
Man, I know. This is all just BS, y'all. It's all politics. It's all garbage. And if you think that your politicians, whoever you vote for at the high levels, at the macro levels, give a GD about you, you're smoking that medical grade meth. I think we're going to have medical grade MDMA soon, medical grade psilocybin soon, and I really think that we should have medical grade methamphetamine soon as well.
It's called Adderall.
Yeah, it is. It's one molecule off, though. You ever tried meth, Sohill?
Probably. I think anyone who's taken like a pressed ecstasy pill has tried meth.
Why? What's a pressed ecstasy pill?
Like, ecstasy like in
They
a pressed
crush it
pill. No, like in a like pressed pill as opposed to just Molly,
Liquid.
like the crystals.
Right.
It's like how people used to take in the 90s.
I was listening to a guy talking about psychedelics the other day, and he qualified methamphetamine as a psychedelic, which, I mean, it's a stimulant.
Oh, I mean, that can make I know
it makes
a lot
people
of people
insane.
who have meth psychosis is real. I don't know
Well,
if I call it psychedelic, but
We talk about sleep a lot on here because I've struggled with my sleep for a minute. Wow, look at the fingerprints on these sweet Walgreens sunglasses. Look at that fingerprint right there. That's clutch, man. You want to talk about some behind the scenes authenticity? Anyway, sleep, y'all, something that I've struggled with. I've tried a lot of stuff. I've tried working out till I dropped. I've tried intermittent fasting. I've tried Ambien, Xanax, alcohol, marijuana. I've tried a lot of it. I've tried it all at once. I've tried none of it. I have found something recently. I've done a lot of cold sleeping. We've talked about that. Sleeping with the window open when it's 20 degrees. Probably some of the best sleep I've gotten in the last 6 months was cold sleeping. It's the staying asleep that's been a real struggle for me. Watching a lot of Andrew Huberman stuff, love him or hate him or indifferent to him. Huberman, I think, brings a lot of value to the biohacking, especially the, physicality space in terms of figuring out what to take, what to eat, how to work out, getting granular with the science of all of those things and getting current. And he was talking about how important and how beneficial sauna can be at night because your body runs on circadian rhythms. We all know that. Obviously, it's very difficult to sleep during the day. Your body is, it's lining up with the sun. Best thing you can do in the morning is get sunlight in your eyes. It gets you going. Best thing you can do at night is watch the sun set. That puts you to sleep. We talked to Dr. Michelle, the brain influencer, about that, getting your sleep hygiene on point. What your body is doing at night when it's putting itself to sleep, it's cooling down. So this is a little counterintuitive, but I thought it was super interesting. Clip from the Joe Rogan Experience with Andrew Huberman talking about how when you do a sauna session, you're heating the exterior of your body, obviously, and what's happening is the core of your body is working very hard to cool. So it's recognizing that you are intentionally heating up the exterior, and it's trying to figure out how to cool the interior down. Is this a new one? Is this what's the date on that one?
That's 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 41 seconds. Yeah, fire that off. Let's see. Are we going to get copyrighted out for that?
I don't think Rogan, because he's not on YouTube. So
or he is, but only for 14 minutes a day. That's
really?
his Spotify. Spotify won't let him put more than 14 minutes of his clips on his 2 channels.
Dang, he is really cucked, huh?
Yeah, he totally folded. He folded for $100 million.
Was that confirmed?
100?
I know everyone said that.
It's more than that.
Yeah.
And then when Spotify was getting all the pressure from people who don't matter, like Brene Brown and Neil Young, to take Rogan down, because Rogan was telling everybody that horse meds could cure them of the cold, I believe Rumble hit him with a backup offer for $150.
Wild. He should have picked that.
I don't understand why, just talking about this, what do you think about this, man? We'll get back to the sleep thing for a minute. Why are there not more independent, usable, popular platforms?
That's wild. I was thinking about that yesterday.
Where are the trend-setting billionaire entrepreneurs coming up with their, one just bought a platform, and they're saying he's going to turn the video side of Twitter into something to rival YouTube. But where are all these guys to compete with YouTube, Google?
So here's the thing, Jess. I was thinking of that because
Tell me so.
I was it's so messy. I'm sorry. I was I was thinking about how, everyone complains that conservative voices get silenced on these big tech platforms, but I'm like, what if, what if I build a platform and put my heart into making content that may be left-leaning and you get shadow banned or outright banned from platform. Well, the concept of competition under capitalism is a farce.
Why do you say that?
Monopolies are a direct result of a capitalist structure of the economy. Even when we have antitrust and anti-monopoly laws, we have, even in like telecom, where it's huge to have anti-monopoly laws. How many telecom companies are there?
Not many.
No.
And they're all buying each other, so they're just getting bigger and fewer.
So let's go. Everyone knows about telecom. Let's go into any other major company. Let's go into energy. Let's go
automotive.
Into auto. Yeah, especially here. Automotive. What about communications? Right. So when you're talking about tech, monopolies also are rampant and they exist. And it's to the point where I really think it might be a good idea to classify certain, or for the government, the state, to buy, I don't know, not our state, but ideally if the state would, control the major platforms that everyone uses.
So back to an FCC run everything, like how they ran cable TV
like in the
and
40s or whatever.
And well, I mean, up to 10 or 15 years ago, right?
Well, yeah, up through the 80s, I think.
Well, they were running, run and fine. Remember Howard Stern getting fined all the time on terrestrial radio by the FCC?
Yeah. So it's not ideal, but there's at least freedom of speech protections. So the capitalist answer to that, or the anti-state run answer to that, would be having true competition, which would mean the state would still have to regulate the Twitters, Facebooks.
Yeah, I mean, I totally oppose that, just because you know me and I want the state out of everything. If I'm anything, I'm more libertarian than anything, which is let's get the government as small as possible, not keep giving them more and more power. What I can't understand, and we've talked about this before, is, for example, this TikTok bill, which I don't know if it'll even ever make it to the floor of the legislature, but more and more is coming out about how this thing has been written, and the verbiage in it is so broad, sweeping. I mean, it leaves so much room for interpretation. It's crazy. And they're obviously trying to hang China out to dry, and this is China invading our data, when every social media platform out there is scraping all of your data. AI is scraping your data. AI, Chat GTP, all of that. AI just put together a database of what you heard about this, right? The other day, billions of photos from social media have all been amassed and compiled and provided to law enforcement as part of an identification effort. So if you have a fake ID or whatever, all these photos that were never all in one place are all in one shared database now. And, it's a lot like license plate readers on the highways. And it's, your privacy, what you think is your privacy, is a thing of the past and has been for quite some time. A lot of us who are awake and conscious have understood this. I don't think there's a lot we can do about it. What you could do about it is just stop using social media of any kind, because it's identifying you, it's listening to you.
You could do that, but can you really? I mean,
very difficult, man.
Yeah.
I mean, look, next door, the Ring doorbell.
Hilarious.
Dude, yeah, I know, but the Ring doorbell has its own version of Nextdoor.
I know,
every single shared technology is now developing its own little social media community.
And we're figuring out the pros and cons of all of them, right? But because there are pros. There are definitely pros to having the ability to connect with my friends from Madrid, or my friends who, to have a daily, at least in my opinion, a daily kind of check-in to foster those relationships. Maybe it's not a pro. People would argue it's not. But
no, it's a pro. I get checked in on by and check in on a bunch of my friends too. You don't just get to drop country names without me competing with that in some way, shape, or form, from Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, the UK, etc., etc.
It's not just Madrid though. Even someone who lives down the state in Austin, we're not built to call 100 people every day, right?
Right.
I mean, we don't have the time. I wish.
Now you can
but-
kind of check in on people if
Yeah.
you check their
but
profile.
But aside from social media, I think you took me saying the state should regulate wrong. This is a misconception about the left, is that the left is all about freedom of privacy, freedom to do whatever the hell you want, whether it be with your.
But are
the
they?
left. The left has always been about freedom. The
It
right
has
the
until
right,
the last few years.
No.
Yep. You
Those
must take this shot, or you don't care about everyone else's health. That's case in point.
That's not really the left, but we're not going down that hole again. Those are liberals. Those are still conservatives on the political spectrum. But when it comes down to it, the conservative party here, the GOP, has run on being the freedom party only very recently, past like 20 plus years. They're using the rhetoric of freedom to appeal to the masses. But when it comes to freedom of any of the speech, privacy, choice, those
Right.
are all leftist ideals. So the regulation I'm talking about is economic regulation of preventing monopolies, preventing oligarchies, preventing money in politics. Those are vital regulations for the State Department to hold, and I believe libertarians for the most part agree with the money in politics one, not necessarily with the other commerce ones.
Oh, I think libertarians might be the strongest to agree with that. That
Yeah.
money, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Libertarians believe that power must be limited. I'm not a card-carrying libertarian. I am and always will be an independent. I don't give a GD if the party that aligns with me most asks me to vote along party lines. I think that's a very uneducated way to make your voice heard. But these are all, again, man, it's like every other topic that's trending these days. Everybody wants like to be able to wrap it up and tie a bow around it and be done with it and solve it. And they're such ethereal topics because they include so many different angles and aspects that people aren't able to wrap all their minds around.
No.
Sure.
It's pretty simple.
Well, it's very similar
pretty
to
simple.
Well, it's similar to the school shooter, right? The school shooter in Tennessee. There's been all of this hubbub in the media for misgendering that individual. That individual is no longer with us, and what they did was terrible, no matter what their reasons were. But I believe that the media was calling that individual by the wrong gender for a while. Misgendering was, I've never even heard of this term.
Yeah, you have. Have you follow Jordan Peterson? And
I don't follow anyone to the
misgendering.
degree that I just espouse their
But we talked about
opinions.
when he got banned from Twitter for misgendering Elliot Page.
I don't really remember
as
the
Ellen
Elliot
Page.
Page
But
conversation.
either way, we're not talking about the shooter's gender. It's a school shooter.
Well, a lot of people were, though, right? It was that you're not calling them by the gender that they, in their mind, believe that they are, regardless of how they were created or how they evolved or how they came out of the womb, right? Because we can look at the hardware on your body, and that is how gender has been classified since the beginning of time. But now it's, what does your mind tell you you
Okay,
are?
all of that's irrelevant to this school shooter.
No, I'm just
whatever
bringing
the
up
media,
I'm bringing up is
whatever
the
the media is saying. There is also media harping on it, saying it's because of that. So it's not. It's a school shooter, and the issues come. Can I finish how it's simple thing?
Sure.
So it's simple.
Do you disagree with me that all of these are complex problems that can't be wrapped up in a 30-second summary?
Let me try. So when it comes to school shootings, there's a lot of that is very complex.
You
'cause
support them.
I do. No, I don't.
You do
I do
not.
not.
That would be a rough take, bro.
No, I hate them.
I'm glad that's not your take.
Come on. But school shootings are very complex. You have gun issues that I told you go far enough left, you get your guns back, and I'm for that. But alienation from society and from your labor under a capitalist structure of the economy runs hand in hand with monopolies and corruption that is supported and necessary under an oligarchical system and capitalist organization of the economy. Free markets do not exist. There are 10 factors under capitalism that cause alienation by people, that cause higher rates of depression, suicide, mass violence. This is me trying to sum it up. We can disagree, but issues with big tech, every issue we're talking about comes down to there are no free markets, and with a profit motive, Twitter is going to operate under profit motive. And if that means posturing politically in a certain way to either gain favor of their customers or their advertisers, which are their customers, right?
Yeah.
Or that means, lobbying for certain regulations that go against that certain political posturing they do, such as deregulation, such as allowing super PACs and money in politics. It's all pretty simple. You get money out of politics, you get rid of a profit motive, you start chipping away at one's alienation from their labor, because not everyone's JESS Marshall who is a business owner. The statistics of the facts are that most people are workers, and they have opportunities to not be workers, but it should be okay to be a worker, and it should be non-alienating from society to be a worker. There's no rule book that says, hey, we have to be alienated from labor or from society or alienated from the value we produce as human beings and not have leisure time, not have ability to self-fulfill. There's no rules that say that.
Right. So when you're trying to figure out what system a society needs to run under, what's the best system it can run under, we know there is no room for an ideal system in a real world. There's a way we want things to be. We would love for everyone to treat one another equally, for everyone to love one another, for there to be no homeless, no hungry, no needy. In fact, I put it to you, like the great comedian Jim Gaffigan would say, there certainly are a lot of Christians who I don't believe understand the gospel or the mission that Jesus came down and said, clothe, feed, help. And I think a lot of them read that and say, oh, so that means I need to buy a new car? Or, oh, so that means I need to start a mastermind here in my church? Or, oh, so that means I need to be a celebrity coach to the stars for hundreds of thousands of dollars? Why are there people suffering? To me, in my opinion, that's not the job of the government. When the government takes over things like the foster care system, the homeless system, I think we see what happens. But what you just described, ideally, would be outstanding. The problem is that there is no better global driver than competition. And while what you say is very true, that capitalism is a myth. You may rise to a certain level, but you're never going to rise to the levels that you think. Very few are. Capitalism is this ideal that if I work hard enough, there will be opportunities extended to me no matter my background. If I reach hard enough and work hard enough, right, I can get where I want to go if I want it hard enough. And the simple truth of the matter is that there are way bigger forces at play. Does that mean that a guy like you or a guy like me should throw our hands up and kick our feet back and play Fortnite all day? No, I don't think it does. I'm also very driven, so I wouldn't last doing that, giving up, throwing in the towel. However, I do think that if you think that you're living in the greatest country on earth because it affords everyone an opportunity, I think you should do a little deeper digging. But I also think that to that same extent, you're digging deep to figure out, hey, what is this country actually all about? Why do we actually have an oligarchy system here that's not talked about? Who are these elites? Do these elites even exist? Am I just a conspiracy theory because I think there is a deep state or because I think there are elites? Let's also take a moment to have a look around the globe, and then let's take a step back and go, gosh, there are a lot of things to fix here. A hell of a lot of things to fix here. If you don't think there are, I don't think you're looking at things objectively. However, What we have here is a heck of an advantage compared to what many people groups are up against in many other countries all over the globe.
For sure. Not disagreeing. It's just at what cost do we have that advantage that those other people do not? That's a position I hold, that we sure have this comfortable advantage because we subjugate the global south. But on your first point of what is the solution or the other system, I think there's a large misconception about socialism or leftism that, you know, the end goal is for the state to control everything, and that's not how it's outlined. It's very much in line with libertarian, where there is no state. The state has the smallest role. The socialists don't trust the state for 90% of things that the state does in terms of legislation, but there has to be a way to get to that either libertarian or communist ideal, that where the globe is equitable, which involves certain factors that are either government driven, or if you listen to Lenin, right, you do it from within the work. Like, to me, it's all about doing it from within your workplaces, but I'm not going to speak much more on that because I have a job. But
well, I mean, I think that the beauty of where we live and the rights that they say that we have is that we should be able to say what we want when we want. Now, freedom of speech doesn't mean that you can say anything that you want and there are zero repercussions. If you say anything you want on a platform you don't own and the platform doesn't agree with what you say, they will deplatform you. Those are the rules you abide by when you use platforms to try to build your own brand. If you want impunity, invent your own platform. For example, we had a video flagged and taken down for hate speech. We talked about this last week on TikTok. It was actually talking about the importance to think for yourself, to consider other opinions, to not take what other men walking on this earth with 2 legs or less, but with one brain have to say, but possibly considering the novel concept of creating your own educated opinions based on your own education, your own experiences, and your continuing education. There is no question about the fact that the system that presents itself, the American dream as it has been presented for so long, as it was presented to me from the time I can remember, is not what it's ever been presented. However, you do see people, let's just take Arnold Schwarzenegger, for example, who say, man, I got to America as quick as I could because I knew that out of all the places on the planet, it was the only place that would afford me the opportunities to get where I wanted. And while it's not perfect, we certainly enjoy certain privileges and opportunities that other people don't enjoy. And that's part of the responsibility of being an American patriot. I believe that that word has been bastardized over the last couple of years. I think that people who have their own viewpoints and opinions on things that are not mainstream are patriots. I think those are people who say, hey, this is what I believe. I'm not going to hate you for what you believe, but maybe, just maybe, we could have an educated conversation about why I think what I think, why I believe what I believe. And that, in my opinion, is where some fall short. Some people, whether they are way to the right or way to the left, or some people who like to hang out in the middle because they want to be all things to all people, and they don't want to take a side. I think that's weak as fuck. And I think that the people who I admire the most are the people who can take a step back and maybe try to take an overview look of an issue and try to figure out, man, what's really going on here? Am I seeing things for the way they really are, or am I seeing things for how I want them to be? Or am I so damn programmed that I can't see past what I was trained to see or trained to think when I was young? My goodness gracious, some of the things that I learned when I was young, either by direct supervision or teaching or by osmosis, are so off base it's nauseating and disappointing. Do I just hold to those values stubbornly because those are the ones that were instilled in me? Or do I feel in my gut, in my knower, that I don't know, man, I think maybe this is a little bit I think this is possibly wrong, or possibly not the complete truth, or possibly not the truth that I believe, and continue to search and continue to seek and continue to try to find until you do find. In my opinion, that is the adventure of being a free human. And I find it so sad when people are just staked to a belief, whether it's they're so stubborn they don't want to give 1 inch to the other side, or they are economically staked to the belief. It's too bad. That seems to me like something that would make me feel very trapped if I was in that position. I have deeply held beliefs, values, family value ideals, ways that I'm going to live my life. I'm going to have children. I'm going to lead those children. If those children are boys, I'm going to teach them how to be men, how to lead, how to provide, how to protect. Those are the things that I believe I was put here for. And those are the things that I will instill in my sons. And if I have daughters, they will be strong daughters. They will know how to be independent. They will also know what it is that makes them fully fulfilled, what it is that they were created to do. And I will give them the space to grow up safely, but also to understand this is how we treat our fellow man. This is how we treat our parents. This is how we treat our brothers and sisters, our classmates, our friends. We're there for our friends at all times. We never give up on friends. We believe in one another. We support each other. We give more than we take. These are the values that I will instill into my children. If other people believe other things and want to instill different beliefs and values into their children, go for it. Am I going to go to war over that? No. But if you darken my doorway with bad intentions, you can best believe that what meets you on the other side of that door will not be a hug. And I meet most people that I meet, whether it's for the first time or I haven't seen them in years, with a hug. If you come to threaten me and mine, you will be met with bad intentions. But it is until then that I'm going to give you every opportunity to be a good human. And I also think that it's somewhat nauseating when people are taking actions online, because that's where most people take their actions, and let their voice be heard and do it for one reason. And often they will say, this is not for clicks, this is not for likes, this is not for followers, and yet that's exactly what it's for. Because would you be taking this viewpoint if there was no internet, if there was no social media, if there were no such things as camera phones? I don't think you would. I don't think you seriously believe what you're saying as much as you say you do, but I think that you're probably playing to your base. And while I rail and rail against politicians, you can best believe that most of the people who have influencer status online are also politicians. They hang out in the middle, or they pander to their following on the right or the left. There are very few who go off the beaten path and who look to try to figure out what in the hell is actually going on. And do I believe what I believed 20 years ago? Or have I found a better way? I think I know what you're going to show me here with the man, the myth, the legend, Kid Rock.
Say,
is this the Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light thing?
Do this? You're not going to
shoot Bud Lights?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's Bud Light doing, though, Sohill? What's the point of that? What's the point of sending Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light cans with his, her, their photo on it? What's the point of that? That is to align with a certain viewpoint and to middle. That is to play. That is to pander. Bud Light is an alcoholic beverage. What you have to do, you have to take a political side to sell your suds? Or are your suds good enough that they sell themselves? What's the point?
So to be clear, yes, obviously that's what they're doing. That's why M&M's got rid of the sexy M&M, I think, or whatever that controversy is. That's why any corporation does what they do is for that. But also, aside from that, companies do influencer marketing. Dylan Mulvaney apparently is a big influencer.
I never heard of him until all this hubbub about Bud Light. Or her. Or that. Whatever, man. I've never heard of Dylan Mulvaney. Let's just call them by their names if that's what they want to be called by. Again, even them and they now they have these undercurrent oh, you said this word, that must mean you feel this way. And it all becomes extremely confusing. That's why I brought up the Rogan misgendering, because Rogan's talking with a liberal journalist, a hardcore liberal journalist, one of the folks who's working on the Twitter files and who's about to be working on the Fauci files, of all of the interference with Twitter that Twitter denied. And the level of confusion in their conversation is at a next level. And Rogan talks about this stuff all the time. If you just search YouTube for Rogan misgender, the video will come up, and we should watch 2 minutes of it, because it is the mental gymnastics you have to jump through about what's going on it's so confusing. I think it makes a lot of people want to throw their hands up and take a side instead of saying what's going on here. And the controversy only then becomes more tribalistic, and I'm on this side or that when Kid Rock. Now, in my opinion, the most important part of this video we're about to watch is he using an AR-15 or is it an AK-47?
AK is for the people. I'm a big fan of the AK-47. Good history there.
That's right. There is. Yes.
But yeah, we don't need to go back into how confusing it's not confusing. We've used singular they them as I go home and tell my mom when I'm a kid, hey, I've met a new friend today. Oh, what's their name? No one's confused. They is a non-gendered pronoun. It's I can imagine what the Joe Rogan thing is because liberals are annoying, but yeah, I don't know how valuable that's going to be, and we don't have to watch this. But I got a little soundbite of you talking about Bud Light.
Yeah,
the whole point of this is like how stupid it is to get, conservatives call liberal snowflakes. Like, just chill. Let your companies do what they want.
Well, yes, and then all of the color commentators, if you will. In sports, you have a play-by-play guy. That's usually a professional, non-athlete who knows the game of media, and he sits with a color commentator. The color commentator is normally a previous player of the sport, usually at a reasonably high level, so they have authority when they're talking about the play or the game on the field. Now we have commentators who are also color commentators, not just play-by-play analysts in news media. And they sit on either side, and they literally make a living calling on what's going on. I know, Sohail, in the past, you've mentioned that, boy, this is certainly a true statement, what I just said, but you see way more of these on the right than you do on the left. And it's always, can you believe the Dylan Mulvaney situation? Now buy my t-shirt. Can you believe that at the CMAs, Kelsey Ballerini sang, we're going down together, and had cross-dressers on stage? Now buy my hat. And to me, it's all nauseating. And it all goes back to, if you don't think that when you're on the internet or social media is on the internet, they're one and the same, whatever. Although I will get to marketing on that in just a second about purchasing products wisely and not getting scammed on social media. God almighty. Anyway, you're being marketed to at all times. If you're watching the news on a news bundle on Hulu, YouTube TV, DirecTV, or you still have a cable running through the ground to your TV, you are watching your news. You pay for your cable, but you're watching your news because they are wanting you to watch advertisements and buy trucks, pharmaceutical drugs, and go to Kroger. Okay? Like, don't get it twisted. And if you don't go out of your way, and it's out there, it's available. I highly recommend Breaking Points on YouTube. If you want to just get facts with no BS and no slant or angle, check it out. Because getting just the information is difficult these days. Whether it's the smug, I'm better than you because I wear a striped tie with a checked shirt Tucker Carlson take, or it's the Rachel Maddow take, or the Don Lemon take, or it's the Nightly News with David Muir take. You're getting a take that is funded by advertisers. And there's a reason why it's there and it's easy to find, because advertisers are footing the bill. How do you think all those people are living in their $1 million houses and driving their $500,000 cars and wearing their $10,000 suits? Doesn't actually pay that well. Look at the actual demographics and the numbers for actual regular standard mainstream media. Even Fox losing market share hand over fist to YouTube programs like Breaking Points, and yet they continue to survive because of the cable news bundles that these cable companies put together that prop up even the channels that are doing poorly. And it is all just World Wrestling Federation with ties on, y'all. That's all it is. And all I'm saying is it doesn't matter what your beliefs are. Just be awake and conscious enough to know that what you're consuming, if it's that easy to find, is that easy to find for a reason. Why do you think your grocery store is set up in the way that it is? So that when you walk through the main doors, you walk right up the gut of the grocery store, which is where all your processed, bagged, and boxed foods are. Because unlike some people, I firmly believe that the standard American diet and the food producers for our main big food companies are absolutely hand in glove, in agreement, in collaboration, in cooperation with Big Pharma. If we can get you fat enough, sick enough, and give you enough skin diseases brought on by what you put into your body, then we are going to pass you right over here to our big brother or big sister, Big Pharma, and they're going to hook you up with the drugs that are going to offset what you're eating. Whereas if you would just shop to the outside edges of your store and possibly across the back, leave the dairy out of it, go for the goat or the almond instead, you'd do yourself an outstanding service, cutting a lot of the staples out and trying to eat whole foods. Big Food and Big Pharma know exactly what one another are doing. They are encouraging each other, and it's all on purpose. And keeping you sick and fat and slow mentally and physically is the goal. It's the goal. If you don't think it's the goal, you're welcome to your opinion. I certainly strongly disagree with it. Do want to talk about one thing: buying things online, especially through social media. I challenge you, next time you want to buy that awesome jacket from a brand you've never heard of. I've had to learn this the hard way. Not too proud to have to say it. Found this jacket. This is 2 Christmases ago. They had one in my size. I'm a reasonably large human. I thought, man, that's a great price. It does seem a little bit too good to be true. The company was sold through then an app, so was selling their apparel through an app called Shop. And it was sourced out of China. Well, when I received everything, the sizes that I received were insane. It was a jacket made to fit me, Sohill, that wouldn't even have fit Naomi. No lie. And then when I went to try to return this apparel, the return was going to cost more than the entire order cost. So I ended up giving the apparel away to some people at one of my companies who were quite a bit smaller than me and who could actually wear and enjoy it. What I learned was some of these social media companies, especially apparel, footwear, accessories, man, jump out of social media, search it, see if that company has good or any reviews.
All fake reviews.
It is all fake reviews. If you go on there, read the reviews, look at the dates, and then there are also a couple of websites that are similar to Snopes. You can just search the company name and say, is XYZ apparel a reputable brand? And you will get a lot of reviews that then the company can't go on and take the reviews down because it's on a separate, independent, objective website. Just a little piece of common sense there for y'all. Don't get ripped off like I did. And then back to our sleep discussion, since we've only got 12 or 13 minutes left. So my sleep journey has taken me down this path of figuring out how to get good sleep. One of the best ways to change your body is with resistance training. But if you resistance train and you're not able to get any sleep while you're asleep, especially in REM sleep, that is when human growth hormone, natural endogenous human growth hormone, courses through your body. It repairs everything you tore down if you do strength training. Well, if you can't sleep or you can't stay asleep, then you're not going to be mentally sharp and you're not going to be physically sharp. I have tried a bunch of things. This sauna at night thing is a game changer. So there's another little hack that I've thrown in that I learned from Huberman. I do really like Andrew Huberman. A lot of his stuff is pretty dry, but I think there's a lot of value in what he says, especially from the, I don't know, biohacking is such a weird term, but from the physical improvement space. And he's talking about when he eats, what he eats. So if you eat a macro-based diet, you've got your fat, protein, and carbohydrate. So what I've started to do is stack all my carbohydrates toward the end of the day. So I know that while I'm asleep, that's when my body is going to replenish itself. Now, is this going to work for everyone? No. I'm big on trying new things, though. That's why this solo podcast is called Curious Jess, because I'm always trying to find a better way to get fitter, faster, funnier, etc., performance enhancement and production help optimization, and everything from hormone replacement therapy, which I've been trying for quite a while with great success. That's helped me. Sauna at night. So I'm going 170 degrees in an infrared sauna. My head is not in this thing. The box only comes up around your neck. You sit on a chair, a plastic chair inside. I'm pushing for 30 minutes. I'm getting a crazy good sweat, so I'm working out in the afternoons, usually after work. Then I'm making my dinner, my staple-free dinner, so no soy, no gluten, no corn, and no cow dairy. And I'm eating that, and then usually I'm giving myself about 1 hour of visual content consumption. So television show, something off an app, whatever. Trying to make it through Triangle of Sadness right now. Split that thing. I think it's 3 hours long. Split it up into like 3 sessions, so I'm not just spending 3 hours zoned out. And I'm hitting the sauna, 30 minutes. Your body, your core of your body is fighting that exterior heat you're putting on your skin, the largest organ on your body, and it is ramping up your body, concentrating on cooling itself down, so that as soon as the sauna exposure ceases, your body is immediately already ramping up its effort to cool itself down. Your core temperature is trying to cool itself down. Then right into a lukewarm shower, and then straight to bed. No blue light, no phone screen, no TV screen. I've been trying to read. It's been difficult with the eye surgery because the contrast of a dark room to a bright page. I'm thinking about possibly getting a Kindle. I don't really like that idea. I like books. I like paper. I just like the physical nature of it. I always have. That has helped my sleep a ton. I would say that of all the things that I've tried, this little regimen, which I've been doing here for the last couple of weeks, has been the most successful. I've stayed asleep longer. I am getting up way less, waking up way less, and waking up more refreshed, not totally amped up with a cortisol spike. As soon as I wake up, I'm drinking 20 ounces of water fortified with Himalayan sea salt right before I'm going for my coffee, or whatever other stimulant I want to try. One other thing that I've tried last couple of days, this has been a bit of a mental challenge, but I'm digging it, is a cold plunge in the morning instead of coffee. So I'm just going with tap water, which is cold enough, plus just 1/2 of a bag of ice from 7-Eleven or QT, and then I'm just sitting in there for 2 minutes. Dipping your nuts in ice cold water is nuts and nips, man. Those are that's not a pleasurable experience. But fighting your fight or flight to, I got to get out of this, it's uncomfortable, figuring out it's uncomfortable, but it's not going to kill me. I'm going to be able to survive it. And actually, when I get out and then go on my morning walk, I feel better than if I just get up and even drink my salt water and drink my coffee. I don't even need coffee. And I've been trying to work toward, there we go, nuts and nips. There's 2 of the most valuable nips in the nation right there. Our boy Rogan. The cold plunge thing is very interesting. And I know some guys, some fitness guys, good buddies of mine, a couple top flight athletes that don't do the cold plunge, but they do a cold shower. And studies have shown when you're sitting in just in a stagnant, non-moving body of water. It's actually easier to do that than to be under even tap cold shower where that water is moving over your skin. That sensation of the water moving is a little, it's more of a shocking sensation. So if you're having trouble sleeping, I've tried to keep you all updated on my sleep struggle. I've had some people on the JMP to talk about sleep hygiene, about the importance of cutting out blue light, about being in a dark, cool area, about keeping things simple in your sleep space. I always wonder, especially when I have like an ayahuasca journey, like what my forefathers did about sleep. And I think they slept when they could, and they got sleep on the run, and they probably were not living to ripe old ages. I think that we're going to start seeing ages of people who are taking care of themselves, especially with nutrition, sleep, strength, and cardio training. I think our ages are going to start skewing. Instead of living until you're 80, 85, I think we're going to start living until we're 110, 115, possibly even longer. So taking care of yourself is going to mean that you have a longer life, which is rad because that means you can have more experiences, especially if you're in shape. So I'd give that a shot, y'all. And I welcome any suggestions that you might have. I've given up the Ambien, made me feel like ass. I've given up the hydroxyzine, which is like Benadryl on steroids. I hate Benadryl with a passion.
Hydroxyzine, man. You go in, you're like, I have anxiety. They're like, here you go.
It's weird that they're giving you an
here's a bottle
antihistamine
of
for that.
2,000 hydroxyzine
Yeah,
pills.
hydroxyzine is a big one.
It's like, just give the damn benzos. You know,
Well,
that's what. I'm serious. If you have anxiety like we do,
yeah,
and have a relationship where we're not going to abuse, I get people abuse it, but it's like there's
nothing's better than a Xanax if you need it. There's absolutely no doubt about that. It works.
It's like you shouldn't need it all the time.
No,
every day.
No, I think that if you save it and you use it as a save shot, that's the best way that I can describe the way I use Xanax is as a save shot.
Oh yeah, it's a kill switch. It
is, yeah. It's like an EpiPen if you get stung by a wasp. I mean, you're not going to go drill your quad with an EpiPen every day, but if you need it and you're extremely allergic to something, the EpiPen can save people's lives.
So are you comfortable saying what pharmaceuticals you do take?
Yeah, so I am prescribed Ambien, but meeting with my doctor here in a couple of weeks, and I haven't filled that prescription in quite some time, just because it does not enhance my performance.
Have you done anything wild on Ambien?
No, but when I had my first of many shoulder surgeries, I did not like the painkiller that they gave me. It was Percocet, I think. Well, there were opioids involved.
Yeah,
I did not like what they did to my body. Yeah, they stopped up my digestion and everything. So
horrible.
Back before I was avoiding alcohol, I would take all I would do for pain. This is shoulder reconstruction. Now, not the worst pain I've ever had from an injury or a surgery by any means, but very painful. I would just drink. I would measure off what I was going to drink, and I would pour it out, and I would just dose myself with alcohol. And then at night, first 2 nights I took Ambien. Night 1, I end up in my front yard, leaning against my cottonwood tree here, one of the first houses I bought in Richardson, and my Weimaraner is licking my face because my front door is wide open. My wife at the time is walking out going, "What the hell's going on?" And I don't even know what happened. I'm asleep on the ground, sitting against a tree, and my hunting dog is waking me up. That was Ambien experience 1. And that actually night I did not have any alcohol with it. Ambien experience night number 2 was sleepwalking all over the house, and from there I cut it out until 6 to 8 months ago when I thought, man, maybe this would help me again. I don't even feel like it does anything, bro. I take it. I know there are people who abuse it recreationally. I guess if you fight through the fatigue, the initial fatigue that Ambien can bring over you, you black out and you don't even know what you're doing, apparently. I mean, there's people who've committed murders on Ambien. They claim to not know what they were doing. It's crazy.
It's a crazy drug, and it's very highly prescribed. Yeah, sleep is wild. I've always struggled with sleep as a kid. The past few years, I've gotten a lot better with it, but
I know that a lot of people say that working out earlier in the day is better too, because if you work out in the evenings after work, now that's when I feel strongest. Actually, that's not true. Middle of the day, if I didn't have work to do all day every day, or I could work when I want, which I really, that's a goal for me, is to my schedule. I want it to be, I'm doing what I want when I want, so I'm most productive. But working out at night or the evenings is apparently not conducive to a circadian rhythm that, caters to a good sleep hygiene or good sleep structure routine. So trying to work on that, man. I figure if you can't work out at the perfect time of day, at least get a workout or a walk, break a sweat. Our bodies were created not to sit, not to lay. They're supposed to lay down to refresh yourself, but really, 7-8 hours a day, the rest of it you should be up, moving, doing, getting stuff done. I appreciate you all joining me for this episode of Curious Jess. It's always fun to kick around some things that I've been thinking about, especially these things that I keep finding and discovering. Like Sir Richard Branson said, everybody's objective in life should be to figure things out, and then when they feel like they figured them out, share them with other people, and that's what I try to do with y'all. Let's lock Trump up. Let's throw away the key. I'm just kidding, y'all. Who the hell cares? It's politics. Those guys don't give a damn about us. I hope you all have an awesome week. Tune into the JMP. I'm getting ready for an awesome guest coming up. Hope you enjoy those. Shoot me a message on Instagram at Jess from the Northwest if you want to connect me with somebody, or if you want to jump on the JMP. Let's make it happen. I'll talk to you guys next time.